him
My
and
entire solar array cost me
Chris
$200,000.
Kukenyo didn't
If they wanted to
rerun.
come in, it cost me $11,000 just to put my system
Chris
together.
Kukenyo,
A solar
is
pump
it a
Well,
Patriot?
yeah. They
I don't
connected
keep
to
up
the house
so
solar
much on the
system.
Prescott City
And
Council.
I
I
think
try
it's
to see who the mayor
And they
is.
said, I
Charlie
don't think
just
so
voted.
because the solar
got a new
taken down
mayor,
here
too.
on 89.
How'd that work?
You're selling a do-it-yourself
Parcel
kit
it?
for 3200 if you install everything
Takes them a while to
yourself.
kind of get their feet wet.
So they
you
came
know.
back and
It's
they
a lot
said
to
if you
absorb
put
all
also
in,
include
yeah.
the price down to
Even if you are watching it,
$8,000
still, once you're actually in it,
incentives,
it's a lot more.
bring it down to about
A
I
lot of
think it would be
information.
very difficult to come
I
up
would
with
still need 2 new solar
that.
panels and some batteries.
additional ones.
But they do eventually.
Because they wouldn't hook it up to the
Yeah,
dish.
probably take at
Right.
least 2 turns to
And
get
this
it
is some
figured out.
type of box, converter box, and it's just like, they said it was only a 5-year warranty for the lemon. 5 years? You know, I'm thinking, wait a moment, at least 12 years, you know?
But that's why they got
They should,
staff to
they
keep
should
them.
offer you an extended warranty purchase option.
Well, they told me that too, and they said, wait a minute, but I'm saying, this is pretty expensive for only,
Yeah.
for, what do you call it, inverter or whatever box, because usually they're 10 or 12
Power.
years. And then to find out they're, whatever I told you, 2 years or 3 years, I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. But we need when you need water, you need water.
It's true. I'm on a gallon of water a day challenge right now.
Is it your own personal challenge?
Yes, it's
Okay,
myself and a few friends. It's hard.
a gallon per person per
Yeah,
day?
it's hard.
It is hard, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it gets about 1 o'clock and I'm like, I think I need coffee. I think I've had enough water for right now.
Well, they say 8 glasses of water a day, but that means everything, teas, not just plain water, so what's that, 8 times 12-ounce glass, what is that,
I think it's 8 times.
84 ounces, that's half a gallon there.
Well, it's your body weight divided in half is how many ounces supposedly you're supposed to take in
Body weight
So-
divided in half is how many ounces?
per day. And I used to drink like a cup and justified it as coffee.
We're almost there.
We are.
Let's see, that one's 1 minute, 2 minutes fast, and that one's 2 minutes
5:50.
slow.
I just watched the one here on the, okay, are we ready? Okay, we're gonna call to order the January 5th, 2016 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Gary, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
We all stand, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a roll call, please? Here.
Here?
Here.
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 Here. Thank you. Item 4 is minutes, consideration and possible action to approve the November 17th, 2015 special meeting minutes. Any comments on the minutes? Hearing none, Chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of November 17th as written. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. Item 4B, consideration and possible action to approve the December 1st, 2015 regular meeting minutes. Do we have any comments?
I make a motion that the December 1st, 2015 regular meeting minutes be approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We have a staff report.
None.
Thank you. Item 6A, public hearing, consideration and possible action to hold a public hearing to rezone Yavapai County Assessor's Parcel Number 306-33-005D, consisting of approximately 1.38 acres located at 1448 South State Route 89, Chino Valley, Section 34, Township 16 North, Range 2 West, from commercial light to commercial heavy. Applicant Charlie Arnold, staff James Gardner.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. Thanks for your time tonight. I will be presenting the rezoning application for the former Napa building at 1448 South Highway 89. This is a vicinity map showing the subject property. It's highlighted here in red and an arrow pointing at it. Currently, as it stands, it's about a 6,000 square foot building and is zoned commercial light. That's depicted here in the current zoning map. Just to the south is commercial light agricultural 5-acre zoning. To the north and to the east, we have commercial light zoning in almost all the directions. If you look just at the very top of that zoning map, we have commercial heavy zoning. That's Lantana Plaza. That's the closest commercial heavy zoning on this side of the highway. On the other side of the highway, we have commercial heavy zoning directly across. We also have AR5 zoning further to the west, and that's about 360 feet. The request is for a rezoning from commercial light to commercial heavy for the purposes of light manufacturing, including welding on the site, and that requires commercial heavy zoning. Under the current zoning, retail sales, pet shops, repair services, restaurants, personal services such as barber shops, nail salons, that kind of thing, and business and professional offices are allowed. There are other items listed, but that gives you the general idea of what's currently allowed there. Under the proposed zoning, there are all of the exact same uses are allowed under the current zoning in CL, except single-family residences. Single-family residences would be allowed as a conditional use permit. Manufacturing, bottling and packaging, warehousing, mini storage, welding shops, underground liquid petroleum, retail and wholesale distribution facilities, that is to say a gas station, commercial outdoor kennels, antennas, and wireless communication facilities, cell towers, contractors' yards, RV parks, and more. Those are, again, the general scope of what is allowed in commercial heavy zoning. That gives you an idea of sort of the intensity of uses that would be allowed under that zoning. The proposed use is commercial light fabrication with welding. Welding and manufacturing are first allowed in commercial heavy, which is the impetus for this rezone. The proposed site plan, which I'm realizing is a little difficult to see here, includes the existing 6,000 square foot building, which is outlined here, improvements to the parking lot, including ADA accessible parking as required by code, and a proposed phase 2 of another 6,000 square foot building. I'm not currently aware of the timeline for phase 2 on this parcel. There's also a required retention basin per engineering standards that's on the front corner of the slot. And as I mentioned earlier, it's an unpaved parking lot, 6,000 square foot building that used to be the Napa. There are no ADA improvements as it stands now. The building was built long before ADA was implemented, so they never had to do any improvements until we had a change of use. There is an 8-foot screening fence that surrounds the property, and that's what's on site now. Proposed uses and structures. In addition to the existing 6,000 square foot building, an additional 6,000 square foot building is proposed as part of phase 2. Within the 6,000 square foot building that is currently there, approximately 2,500 square feet would be used for office spaces, and 3,500 would be used for the manufacture. The additional 6,000 square foot building would be used almost entirely for manufacturing, as I understand it. Parking lot improvements are proposed as well. That would be hard surfacing all the way around, and as as I stated, ADA parking spaces as required. The uses that are proposed are the office space and the manufacturing. I wanted to give a little overview of the public outreach done on this project. The applicant mailed out letters and posted the site in conformance with state statute and the UDO. And the applicant and a representative of the lessee were available at a neighborhood meeting that was held at this location on December 2nd. Only one neighbor was in attendance, and they were concerned about on-site medical marijuana uses. The applicant and the lessee both assured the neighbor no marijuana uses would be conducted on-site, and staff also reiterated that point. They can't be held on-site due to the proximity to an existing residence and to the proximity of the AR5 zoning to the west. As it stands now, no medical marijuana uses would be allowed on that site. I wanted to talk a little bit about conformance with our general plan. We are looking at an area along the 89 corridor just to the south of that dot there. And that's outside of a community core, but within the commercial corridor. So this is in general conformance with that plan. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. The applicant is also available for questions. Thank you very much for your time.
Questions for the staff?
I just have one question. I noticed that the place has been vacant for some time, and there was a chain link fence surrounding the property, and now there's a screening fence surrounding the property.
Yes.
Is that in conformance with the current code?
Yes, it is. The current code actually requires screening for any commercial properties that will have storage containers on them, those storage containers being like the Connex boxes. Those Connex boxes are to be sold on site. They'll have one on site as a demo, so we require screening for that use.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
And my concern here, I think the project's great, have no problem with it. My concern is that we're creating another commercial-heavy location in town, and I realize now that medical marijuana isn't able to be used there, but with some changes of property ownership and zoning changes, it could become a possible spot for that. Is there anything we can do to control that or eliminate it, or in some way reassure that in the future that we won't be making a spot which we've worked hard to do away with for future medical marijuana facilities?
By rezoning this doesn't actually give them any further rights to have a medical marijuana facility. As our current zoning stands, medical marijuana sales facilities are allowed in commercial light, which the property already is. And without a development agreement, which would be part of a PAD, we can't further restrict their use by outlawing a single use on the property.
Okay, so basically with the zoning that's in place now, the chances of it being able to be turned into a facility are pretty small.
They're very small. I'll go back to our zoning map here. There is a commercial light agricultural 5-acre parcel just to the south. The use on that property is a residence as it stands. I understand that if the use were to change to a commercial use, that would change things, but the CLAR5 zoning is still a residential zoning. The CL would be on the first 300 feet of that property, which is about the depth of this lot. And then the AR5 would be on the back end of that. That was done as part of a blanket rezoning long before I was here, I believe maybe in the 90s. They went through and rezoned everything within 300 feet of the edge of 89 to commercial light, And anybody who had a lot that was deeper than that kept their current zoning on the back end of that parcel. So on the back end of this parcel, it's still AR5, which is a residential zone. And this AR5 is also about 360 feet from this parcel, which would prevent any medical marijuana use from being there. This property I can see being rezoned or having a change of use within the next maybe 5 years. As I see Chino Valley developing, it does seem like most of the growth is concentrated on 89. But this AR5 property, I would imagine, will be residential for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
Yeah. Any further questions?
James,
Sure.
the commissioner brought up another question in the back of my mind. In our packet from a prior meeting, it showed commercial heavy in our UDO change, that the conditional uses were eliminated for medical marijuana dispensary and medical marijuana off-site cultivation and infusion facilities. So those were eliminated under CH. Is there some other type of medical marijuana use that would be allowed in commercial heavy?
Those have not yet been eliminated because the town council has not yet voted on them.
Okay,
Which I think is where the concern is arising. Is that
Yes,
correct?
I
Yes.
see.
Yeah.
okay.
So if those were changed at the upcoming town council meeting, we would be eliminating all medical marijuana uses from that zoning district.
Thank you
Great.
for the clarification.
Yes, no problem. Any further questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Would the applicant like to speak?
Thank you, Chairwoman and members of the committee. My name is Charlie Arnold. I'm here on behalf of the property owner, which is Transland LLC. It's a property that is owned by a resident of the city of Prescott, and I'm able to speak with some information about the leasing and what they're doing with the property. But again, I'm here on behalf of the property owner and be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
What are they gonna be making there?
They're welding numerous different applications. The front portion of the building, from my understanding, is going to be revolving around construction offices. They hold 4 or 5 different contracting licenses, as well as their intention to sell Connex containers, which was one of the impetuses for putting up the screen fence. One of the things that also I heard about at Safeway were the water tanks that showed up. A further requirement of the fire district to provide fire flow capacity on the site.
Right, it's for the fire sprinkler system.
Yep. So,
I think it's great. I'm glad to see somebody making something here.
absolutely. And I had the opportunity to visit their Christmas party that they held a few weeks ago, and they've already got 14 plus employees that are local hires, and they are growing with leaps and bounds in their different fields that they're wanting to expand into.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, at this time, we're going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak, either for or against this item? No? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. If there's no discussion, I'll entertain a motion. Discussion?
I make a recommendation that the application be forwarded to the town council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Public comments. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on any item not on the agenda? I myself would like to let my fellow commissioners know that this will be my last meeting, my 3rd term. This is 9 years here on the commission is up, and I've decided not to renew my seat. So I know you guys are going to do great. Got a full commission on board and people who know what they're doing, so I feel confident stepping away. I have offered to sit as the alternate, so you may still see me from time to time when you need an alternate commissioner, but wish you all the best of luck. And with that, I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I just have one comment based on that. We should put on the agenda that we need to vote a new chairperson in. And if the vice chair is elected, we will need to
vice chair.
Noted, thank you.
That is true. I make a motion to adjourn.
You can't do that, you're the chair.
I can.
It's the last meeting, she
We're
doesn't
done.
care.
I'll second it. I was looking
Done
forward
again.
for a year.
That's a bummer, man.
9 years.
Now you've done your duty.
I've